Sebastian's grandmother lived 3 hours north, where the dense, rolling forests of the state park began to swallow cell service and common sense. The car ride was a study in tense silence, the glass tumbler, wrapped in a soft scarf and nestled in a backpack at my feet. A silent, potent passenger between us. The easy intimacy of the past 2 days had been overshadowed by the ominous text. A shared tether cuts both ways. The words looped in my mind, a dire warning set against the memory of Sebastian's mouth on mine. "She's not what you expect," Sebastian said finally, breaking the quiet as he navigated a winding road dappled with late afternoon light. His knuckles were white on the steering wheel. "What should I expect?" I asked, my fingers brushing the backpack's fabric. A faint, sympathetic tingle, like static, traveled up my arm. Sebastian's shoulder twitched in response. The connection was humming at a low, constant frequency now, a background awareness of each other's physical state. "She's not a cauldron-stirring hag," he said, a faint smile touching his lips. "She's a retired botanist, sharp as a tack, and she doesn't suffer fools. When I told her about you, years ago, she just nodded and said, 'The heart knows its own compass.' I thought she was being poetic. Turns out she was reading a manual. Years ago?" The word sent a shock through me. He glanced at me, then back at the road, his ears turning pink. "I might have mentioned you, once or twice, on visits." The idea of a younger Sebastian, already tangled up in feelings he couldn't name, talking about his annoying roommate to his mystical grandmother, made my chest feel too tight. "What did you say? That you were stubborn and loud, that you chewed your pens, that you had a laugh that could startle birds from trees." He paused. "That you were the only person who ever made the silence in my head feel quiet instead of empty." The raw honesty of it stole my breath. We didn't speak again until the GPS announced we had arrived. The house was a surprise. A modern cedar and glass structure built into a hillside, surrounded by meticulously tended gardens bursting with unusual herbs and flowers. It looked more like an architect's retreat than a witch's cottage. The woman who answered the door was tiny, with a crown of silver braids and eyes the same sharp, fox-like gray as Sebastian's. She wore mud-stained gardening trousers and a linen tunic. Her gaze went immediately to the backpack in my hand, then to Sebastian's face, reading him in an instant. "So," she said, her voice dry and clear like autumn leaves, "you poured too much of yourself into the vessel. I felt the surge from 20 miles away. Come in, and you must be Liam." Her eyes landed on me, and I felt seen in a way that had nothing to do with vision. "He's prettier than you described, Sebastian. You undersold the eyes." Sebastian groaned. "Gran, please, nothing. You brought a living paradox into my home. Manners are the least of our concerns." She stepped aside. "Kitchen, now," the vessel on the table. Her kitchen was a sunlit space full of drying plants and strange polished stones. It smelled of rosemary, earth, and ozone. With trembling hands, I unwrapped the tumbler and placed it on the heavy oak table. In the clear mountain light, the lavender flowers inside the glass seemed to swirl with a life of their own. Sebastian's grandmother. "Call me Alara," she instructed, circled the table, her fingers not touching the cup, but hovering inches away. She hummed, a low, resonant sound. "A shared tether," she murmured. "I warned you, boy. The vessel of aesthetic sympathy is not a love potion. It's a truth teller. It amplifies what is. You wanted closeness? It gave you intimacy? You wanted to feel his attention? It gave you his full sensory experience. And you?" She turned her piercing gaze to me. "You accepted it. You drank from it knowing it was strange. You leaned into the mystery. Your curiosity, your